Okay, for the second part of our lesson today, we're still dealing with the scientific method. Now we're going to work on that analyzing data. We've gone through, we have a problem, we drew a hypothesis, we created a test, and we ran the test. Now we're going to collect, organize, and graph that information or that data. Okay, I'm going to show you a neat way to do that, and this is with Excel. Excel is a nice program. You can make data tables. You can do a lot with it, but one of the things is you can do data tables and graphing with it. Makes it nice and simple. Now, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go over scenario one with you. I'm going to make a data table and I'm going to show you how to graph that. Very important that you pay attention to this because when we come to the next class or in your next module, you are going to be doing scenario two down here in which you will need to do the same thing. Okay, now I am going to be constructing a pie graph, or excuse me, not a pie graph, a line graph. And you're going to do the same thing with yours. So I'm going to show you what you need to do. Now, if we read through this real quick, it's about a biologist who was wondering what the best amount of sugar in the agar would be. So there we have his problem. So what he decided, or what he had to do next, was create his hypothesis. And let's just say that he thought 10 grams of glucose in the agar would work best. Okay, so from there, he developed an experiment. And what he did is he got 3 petri dishes in which he was going to add 3 different agars, each one containing a different amount of sugar. So he chose an amount above and below what he thought the 10 grams would be best, and to see if he was anywhere close or correct. Okay, so he puts his agar in, he adds his 10 bacterial cells to start this, and then he simply observes over a 10-day period how much the bacteria increased in each petri dish. Okay, and it tells you here what his data was. He says the first dish increased by 10 each day, the second one by 20, and the third one by 5. Okay, so from that, we should be able to construct a data table. So I'm going to take you right over to here. And what we have to first do is figure out what is our independent variable and what is our dependent variable. Okay, and if you read there, the 2 variables that he was checking here was the days, because that's what he is measuring over 10 days, and the amount of bacterial growth. So what I'm going to do right here is put days. And I'm going to start at day 0, the beginning of the experiment, go 1, 2, 3, and so on. Now there's a neat trick here that we can do with this. If we just simply highlight and you get this little gray thing, we can scroll down and it'll count for us. Okay, so there's our 10 days. Up here, I'm going to take these 3 boxes to go against these 3 lines, these 3 columns, these 3 columns will represent dish 1, dish 2, dish 3. Okay, and I'm simply going to go in here and I'm going to merge those cells together, and this is my bacterial growth. Okay, that is my dependent variable, and then I'm simply going to have dish 1, dish 2, and dish 3. Okay, now the other thing I need to have before I start, every table should have a title. So again, I'm just going to merge those all the way across. And I'm simply going to type in my title. In this case, I came up with, oh my gosh, glucose's effect on bacterial growth. And there I have my title. And now I'm simply going to border this so it looks like a nice, neat little table. I can do that by going right here to the borders, clicking on borders, and I'm ready to go. So if you remember, when I read through this, or if you need to go back, we started each one at 10. The first one increased by 10 each day, so 20, 30, and so on. Again, I'm going to do my little trick, highlight those 3 numbers, scroll down, I'll get to 110. The second dish increased by 20 each day. So 30, 50, and so on. So again, highlight, scroll down. I'm at 210. The third dish increased by 5. Highlight those, scroll down, and there I have my data table. So very, very easy to figure out my data table from that. Again, here is your independent variable, here is your dependent variable. Now, in order to make my graph, I'm going to have to highlight the information that I want to graph. And what I want to highlight is the days and the amount of bacterial growth in each dish. Okay? So once I've done that, I'm simply going to go up here to the top and hit Insert. And I'm going to insert a recommended chart. I told you I wanted a line graph, so right there we go. The first thing we're going to do is fix our chart title. Glucose's effect on bacterial, oops, forgot my space, bacterial growth. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take this thing right here called the legend and I'm going to move it up into the graph. And there's a reason I'm doing that, because I need that space down here. Okay, we have these numbers 0 through 10. We need to label what that stands for. Okay, so how do I do that? I'm going to go up here and you should be on this chart design part now. So if it's not on chart design, if it's somewhere else, click on this. You're going to see something that says add element. Okay, so what I want to add here are the axes or axis title. The one on the bottom is the horizontal one, so I just click there. I highlight that. I simply type in day because those are my days. I can actually move that down a little bit if I want to. I can make it a little bigger. Whatever you want to do with it. Okay, so I have my day. Well, okay, now I have 0 through 250. What is that? I'm going to add that to my vertical. Sorry. Click on vertical here. There you go. Didn't get it the first time. And that simply is the number. Let me highlight that. I again apologize. Number of bacteria. And now I have my line graph. And I can actually make this graph a little bigger so I can see it a little better. But there it is. And now from this I can analyze my data and I can see if the scientist was correct, and he said he thought that 10 grams were. We look at the data here. Dish 2, the one with 10 grams, most definitely gave him the best growth. Dish 1 with 5 grams did about half as well, and the one dish 3 with 15 grams didn't do even as well as the one with 5. Okay, it was too much. So we can conclude from that an agar with 10 grams of glucose would be best for bacterial growth. Okay. Now, as I said, when you come back for the next class or the next module, okay, you are going to be doing scenario 2 and using Excel to construct a data table and graph. And once you do that, you're going to copy and paste into a Word document, and then you're going to submit that to me. Now, if you give me just a second, I will show you how to copy and paste into a Word document. Okay, now on the finish of this video, I'm going to show you how to copy and paste and make me a Word document that you can submit to me. So you'll just need to open up a blank page. You can do the same thing in Pages, and then when you save it, you'll save it as a PDF and send it to me that way. The first thing you have to do is put your name on there. and then simply go towards the center. Please type in block. I'm just going to say block 1G, and then simply put the date. This be 08 slash 20 slash 20. And then you simply have to go down a couple places and we're ready to go. Now, I'm going to go back over here. All I have to do to copy this data table is simply highlight everything I've done. I go up here and hit copy. You'll see the line going through it. I go back to my thing, make sure your cursor's flashing. I simply hit paste. There's my data table. Okay, I have effectively put in my data table. Okay, now I can shrink this thing up if I need to, or I can center it, which would probably be best. Or I can slide it over. There we go. I slid it to the center. Okay, and then what you're going to do, you're going to scroll down here. Now you're simply going to click on your graph. You're going to copy. You're going to come back over to here. And again, you're just going to paste. And it takes it a second here. You're okay. Now, all I'm going to do is make this so it fits on my piece of paper. Not a big deal. Okay. We can spread that out a little bit. And there it is. And now I have a data table. And I have my graph. There we go. Spread it out so that I can read everything, and right there is everything nice and centered. Okay, and that's all you have to do. Now all you do would be to save this. You're just going to save it as analyzing data. Just put analyzing data scenario 2. That'll be your title. And then you're going to want to save this to your folder on your desktop. So you guys should have a folder. Just save it into there. Once it's saved into there, you will be able to submit this. Okay? If nothing else, you can save it to your desktop and then slide it or grab it and pull it into there. Either way will work. Okay, so I will have this on your next module also in case you need to rewatch it so that you can see how it works, and then you will be doing that the first part of your next class or next module.